Alright, so this is the moment of truth. I removed the fan over top of the reservoir. Like I said I was going to have to in order to fill it up. And I got my distilled water and paper towel. I'm going to put this under each fitting. Just in case I start seeing some leaks and I can stop the pump. And I built this funnel contraption to fill it up. I just have some surgical tube and just some brass fittings here that I can fit this funnel into. And I'll put that in the top of the reservoir and slowly fill it with water. So I got my drain port ran here and this little trap door made. It's 1 a.m. in the morning. Hopefully I can get to bed by 4 a.m. tonight. It's been like this every single night for the last week. It's turning out awesome, and that's all that matters. So the power supply I'm using is a Corsair MR1000X. It's a 1,000 watt power supply. And the only reason why I need this overkill over power supply is because of that R9 295X2. It takes like 600 watts of power just on its own or something stupid like that. But this is a power supply I'm using. I just need one Molex connector to plug into the pump. And in order to get this thing to turn on, because I'm not hooking it up to the motherboard, I'm going to do the paper clip trick. But what you need to do is you need to go into the green wire and then plug into a ground wire. And basically that's just like your motherboard telling the power supply that it's got power and it's ready to be triggered on with a push button. But since we have no push button, I'm going to use a paper clip and hotwire this thing and then just run the power supply with the on-off switch on the back. So, because this isn't a color-coded power supply, the next best thing you can do is figure out the pinout on your power supply. There's pinouts everywhere online, so it's actually the fourth one in. So you're going to go into this one and then into a ground. And apparently 3 over from it is a ground. So apparently what I just did there will trigger the power supply on. If not, the power supply will probably catch fire and kill me. Anyway, that should trigger the power supply on. So here I have all my important fittings covered with paper towel, and I'm ready to fill the reservoir. Wish me luck. Alright, so I got my tube inserted into the reservoir, and I'm going to start filling this up with distilled water. Here we go. Well, we got some flow. So far so good, no leaks. I'm not sure if I have the pump running at the right speed or not. It's hard to tell how fast I need to have it. I got it on the setting 4. You can see the air bubbles that are coming through it there. It's actually flowing in the reverse way I thought it was going to. I thought it was going this way, but it's actually going this way. Okay, so our leak test was successful, but there's a major problem. The flow is backwards, and the inlet on the CPU is supposed to be here, but because it's running backwards, it's hitting here. And I also think that the inlet on the video card is supposed to be here, because I thought the loop was going to go like this. But this pump is not going in the direction that I thought it was going to. There was no markings on here what was inlet and outlet. I just assumed the right hand side would be outlet and the left hand side would be inlet, but it's actually not. It's the other way around. So now I got to figure out how I'm going to replumb this. So now I need to go down from here into this rad, and then out of this and into the video card. So now I got to figure out a new way to plumb it, and all I have is these 2 pieces of tube left. So somehow I have to be able to make it, oh, and the original tube that came out of it. So now I have to figure out how I'm going to replumb it with this, and the only fitting I have is a 90-degree fitting, so hopefully I can make it work. Okay, so here's my solution for redirecting the flow. So before, it was going out of here up into the video card. Now, because I realized the water actually comes out of this side, now it'll finish my loop the way I wanted it to go, and then come back into this. For whatever reason, I didn't realize that this was the inlet and not the outlet. So, I'm going to run another connector down here, and then into the rad like that, so that I don't have to change up my T and drain and everything. This was the easiest solution to fix it. I know it doesn't look very pretty because it covers half of the reservoir, but it also doesn't look super ugly either. It's still clean. Unfortunately, that's all I can do with the leftover tube that I have, so I may figure out another solution, but right now I don't know how else I could do it. So for now, this is how it's going to be. If I decide I don't like how this looks, I can always change this. It's now 3 a.m. We started our leak test at 1 a.m. I should have these cut, and we'll be back up to do a leak test again in another hour. So it's 4:35 a.m. and I finally got all the piping reran so that we can redirect the flow the proper way. Moral of the story, check the inlet and outlet on your pump before you hook everything up, or else you'll have to redo things. It wasn't too big. I only had to change one pipe around and then redirect this, but yeah, it still took 3 hours to figure that out, and it was the least amount of work I was going to have to do to fix it, so I think it looks alright. It's the best it's going to be for now. I actually don't know how else I would do it, but luckily I had this 90-degree fitting, and I was able to put it on. I still have to tighten all the fittings up. I scratched the bottom trapdoor thing here, so I repainted it, and it's drying now, so in the morning, it's already the morning, later on this morning, once I sleep for 4 or 5 hours, I'll do leak test 2.0 and hook this drain plug back up, and hopefully no leaks. I'm going to bed. So it's the next day, and it's time for leak test 2.0. I've got the reservoir filled up a little bit, and hopefully now our flow is going the right direction. Not hopefully, it will be, because I completely redesigned how it's tubed. So, without further ado, let's get this baby rolling. Pump sounds kind of funny, but I think it's just because there's air in it. You take this out now and just let it run for a bit. All the fittings look good. I don't see any leaking at all. You see right in this area here, there's a lot of air. And that block is stubborn. It's kind of nice that it's see-through, so you can actually see that there's air locked in it. They make 2 versions. They make a black one that's completely covered and you wouldn't be able to see it. So most of the big bubbles are out of the mono block. Actually, never mind, they're back again. You know you're getting some air out when the pump starts to make more noise. So after that lengthy 2-day process, you saw me do a leak test. The flow went the wrong way. Me retube the flow to go the opposite way. And now the second leak test. And things are okay. It's just gotta get the air out of there. There's still a little bit of air. I'm gonna run it for 24 hours. I may add this in the next video. Here all I have to do is release the plug and the water will flow out. So I got my Mams Pastel Ice White. I've got distilled water here, a full jug, and then I've got an empty jug. And I'm going to measure out 750 milliliters of water and then dump this into this jug. I don't know if I can pour it properly. So there's 500. Maybe I didn't get enough. Maybe I'll put 300 in here. Oh, maybe that's enough once I get this in there. Alright, now I'm going to dump this in. Childproof lock. I put paper towel over top of the video card in case I spill a little bit when I'm filling it up here. So the harder spot always seems to be this top corner on this block, and there's an air pocket there that just won't come out, but everything else is looking pretty good.